All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Mona, and I am the Communications Coordinator for MBEC. And welcome, everyone, to today's webinar on the 6 simple steps to creating a video marketing strategy, presented by Idea Mississauga. So to start off, I will be reading our land acknowledgement. So we acknowledge the lands which constitute the present-day City of Mississauga as being part of the treaty lands and traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, the Seneca and Attawandaron and wider Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Huron-Wendat First Nation. We recognize these peoples, the Anishinaabe, the Ojibwe nations within the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, the Huron-Wendat, and all other people who inhabited these lands since time immemorial. The City of Mississauga is home to First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples. As a municipality, the City of Mississauga is actively working towards reconciliation by continuing to strengthen our relationship with Indigenous communities. We formally recognize the Anishinaabe origins of our name and continue to make Mississauga a safe space for all Indigenous peoples. So, a bit more about IDEA. We are your central source for small business information, resources, and guidance. We are currently providing our support and services remotely, and our hours are from Monday to Friday from 9 to 5 p.m. Some of our support and services include free business information and guidance, webinars and workshops, resources and tools, training and mentorship programs, as well as entrepreneurship programs. A bit more about the programs that we offer at IDEA Mississauga. We have the business advisory services. This consists of legal services, accounting services, business operations, sales strategy services, digital marketing strategy services, as well as scale-up services. More information can be found at ideamississauga.ca/contact/business advisory services. We also have our new My Main Street program. This program consists of supporting new and existing small businesses in Mississauga's Clarkson, Cooksville, Malton, Port Credit, Streetsville, and downtown core area Main Street communities. It also helps brick and mortar Main Street businesses to attract new and existing customers. Again, more information can be found at ideamississauga.ca/programs resources/My Main Street. We also have our summer company program for those aged 15 to 29 years with a small business idea. This includes business training and mentorship to help you get your business up and running, and the opportunity for a grant of up to $3,000 to help you launch your summer business. More information can be found at ideamississauga.ca/programs resources/young entrepreneur program. And then there's also the Start a Company Plus program. This includes free training and business skills development, free mentorship and guidance, as well as the opportunity to apply for a program grant of up to $5,000. Again, more information can be found at the URL below. And then we've also have the Scale Up program. This is a 4-month program that supports innovative and inclusive companies to grow and overcome barriers, as well as you have the opportunity to attend workshops, connect with experienced mentors, and pitch your business to investors. More information can be found at the URL listed on the slide. And we're here to introduce our team who is here to help you. So we have we have John Lamb, who is our entrepreneurship and innovation specialist, Susan Lovelace, who is our small business consultant, as well as myself, and I am the communications coordinator. If you'd like to stay up to date with our upcoming events and workshops, please visit ideamississauga.ca/events. And our contact information can be found on this slide. So you can email us at idea@mississauga.ca, or you can call us at 905-615-4460. Or if you'd like more information on our program, you can find out more at ideamississauga.ca. We are also on social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn at Idea Mississauga. We also have our e-newsletter where you can sign up. Feel free to scan this QR code to stay up to date with any upcoming events, any small business news and information. We do provide that on a biweekly basis through the newsletter. And with that, I'll just be listing a few of our housekeeping rules. So for today, the audio is only available for the speaker and panelists. The camera is also only available for our speakers and panelists. And the session is being recorded and will be available after today's session. Please use the chat area to offer any comments or ask any questions that you may have for our speakers. And when you do submit your questions, please be mindful and remember to put in all panelists so that our speakers are able to view your question. And today's presentation, resources, and a feedback survey will be emailed to attendees following today's session. And with that, I will just quickly introduce our speakers for today. We have Laura Dunkley and Emily Watson from Acorn Studios. So I'll just hand it over to them for now.
Great. Thanks, Mona, for the introduction, and always exciting to learn more about IDEA. What a great resource for our entrepreneurs. So today we actually, can we share this? Am I able to share, Mona?
Yes,
And
I've just made you presenter.
You're awesome. Okay. And I have to make sure I share. There we go. So for today's session, welcome to 6 simple steps to creating a video marketing strategy. As mentioned, Emily and I are part of the Acorn studio marketing team. We're a boutique marketing agency that specializes in getting businesses introduced and optimized for their online community, helping them build their online brand and communicating effectively to build their business. I'm the primary consultant, and Emily is the creative director, and the two of us are here today to present to you these video marketing tips. Before we get started, though, let's learn a little bit about you guys. Welcome to come. And as a reminder, the chat, Emily is going to be managing the chat. So feel free to say hi, put in your questions there, and let us know, because we will stop and answer questions along the way, as well as have a Q&A at the end. If there's time, there's even a demo to pull it all together to showcase to you guys what we're going to do. We do have a Slido survey if you want to get started. You don't have to create an account. It just lets us know a little bit about who's here today and helps us fine-tune the meeting. So the QR code, or you can go to slido.com. I am just going to actually get this started for you, so you should be able to see it. What best describes your business type is the first question. If you can pop that in, that would be great. We have someone here that has B2B. I'm just going to open up this for you because I can't seem to do both at the same time. Let's do this. So there's the questions again. What best describes your business type is the first question. If you can just let us know what that is, we'll give you a minute to put that in. So arts and entertainment, professional services, manufacturing, nonprofit, wonderful, we see a nonprofit here, e-commerce, retail. Actually, you know what we're going to probably do, since it's a smaller group? How about we not worry about Slido and you guys just drop these in the chat? Let's do that instead. So that way, to help with keeping things moving along, and that way we can also get to know you guys better along the way. So just let us know what best describes your type in that chat area. Are you a manufacturer? And the reason is that video we're going to talk to you about best practices, but for your industry and for your needs, customizing your content strategy is something that we're going to help you fine tune. So you'll understand what kind of you'll be able to figure out what kind of videos to create to reach your audience in your industry. So while you're answering that, let's see what we have happening. Some B2B, fitness and wellness, wonderful, arts and culture. And charity, not for profit. Good. Somebody did mention about questions for charity and not for profit. So we will highlight those as well throughout it. So, what's your greatest challenge? This is if you can drop this in, where is that? Because it'll help us fine tune this as well. So, is it planning? Is it knowing how to get started and how to position it in your marketing? Do you wonder what kind of videos to do? Are you struggling with finding time? Is it cost? Is it you're just not even sure if you even need video, or you don't know how to measure success? Maybe it's all of the above. I will be curious on what you guys have for that because these talk to a large part of what we're going to talk about today, and it'll help us fine tune this. So, food service time, absolutely. Software manufacturer, okay, we got some software happening. Professional services, so is finding time is definitely one of them. Cost, not so much, right? Like there's with social media and things, there's a lot of free tools. Emily's going to cover that a bit today. Not sure if you need it. I'm going to show you some stats to say pretty much video is something we should all consider. It's just to what level and how to do it. But knowing how to start and is a really difficult thing. And then measuring success is another one, which we will cover today as well. Yeah, other than you need. No clue where to begin. Absolutely. We're going to help you with that. And in full disclosure and transparency, video has always been my pain point as well. So even though I know it's needed, making sure that you're efficient and making sure you get the return on investment that you want for your time is hopefully these steps will help you. Planning, strategy, production. Excellent. We have a whole template for you. We have a bunch of free downloads for today that we're going to give to you after the session. So make sure you stay on and you will all receive links to that as well. And I'm curious about if you are using video. Yes, no, you're going to do it this year, or are you still sitting on the fence? Just put in a yes, pop up thumbs up if you're doing it. Limited, okay. Someone's not doing it, but very limited. And limited is okay. So this is part of what we're trying to do too. It's better to do fewer things and do it well. So it's knowing what you need to do to move that needle forward. And so limited is absolutely an okay answer. And somebody wants to do it. Excellent. Thank you. So we're going to move forward then now. Thank you for that insight. I think, Emily, it's going to help us fine tune this session today. And we appreciate all of your comments along the way. Thumbs up, tell us to slow down, whatever that is. And for our replay people as well, just remember that the links to any of the resources will also be left in the comments area. So for our agenda today, we're going to talk about why even video. We'll give you a brief intro. And then those 6 steps that we're going to cover is about marketing plan, planning your actual video, choosing the type of video, what do you need to consider, tips on creating your video. Emily is the video expert. Thank goodness she's here. She's going to help us with all of that, as well as promotion and distribution and measuring performance. Q&A is along the way. We'll have a Q&A session, and then we have a little demo company that we often use, and we're going to talk about some tips and actually pull it all together and showcase a fictional, but definitely a possible company that you could relate to. So why video? Well, 96% of people have watched an explainer video. This is based on, I've done a whole bunch of research in this area, and this is one of the ones, the statistics that have been credible. It's a good source. I can't remember how many were interviewed, but it is typical of what you'll see out there. So explainer videos are very popular. 88% of people say they've been convinced to buy a product or service by watching a brand's video. That means that's conversion. And that's ultimately what we want as entrepreneurs is we need to convert them to either hire us, donate, decide to apply for a job, or buy our product. So that's a really important stat. 73% of customers prefer to watch a short video rather than reading a text, like a product or service text-based article. Now, Be considerate of this because this will be industry specific. There are some industries that still like text, still require that text-based article. So do take that stat with a grain of salt and consider your industry. However, we do know across the board people like video. So there may be an opportunity to supplement it with text or put certain videos in certain sections. People are twice as likely to share a video with friends and friends, family, all of those people. So remember, we want engagement. We want that. It supports the algorithm. All of that helps to get more eyeballs on your brand. So know that video, this is very typical that people prefer to share video. So when we ask our questions, why video? Those are some of the reasons. And so why don't people actually get into video? And this speaks to some of those questions and answers you guys have given to us. When asked of, I think it was about 600 marketers, the answers were, and the top one was lack of time. And following that is they don't know where to start with creating a video. These are marketers. So you as entrepreneurs that aren't marketers and you're not sure where to start, absolutely, it is across the board a challenge that is typical, and we're hopefully going to address some of that today. 13% also don't feel it's needed. That hopefully will be reduced because at some point we all need it, but sometimes it's hard to convince people, our decision makers, that that's the case. Again, the stats hopefully will help, as well as making it simple. And different types of video. The top one came back as an explainer video. 74%, 68% say social media videos are popular. 50% say presentation videos. Now, understanding that these were marketers that were interviewed, what that really means is presentation of your product, right? So that's going to be for conversion, whether it's a demo or it's a sales related video, that's still a popular one. And then 46% testimonial, because we know that what other people say about your business is really important to building credibility. So those are some of the top ones. And then what does success look like? Video engagement, videos views, leads, and clicks are the top ones, and then it drops down to brand awareness. Emily's going to talk a bit about at the end, but it's always curious to know what the marketers are saying. And the average amount spent on your videos, the top one is $0 to $500. So cost shouldn't be a factor when it comes to actual financial costs. However, doing video takes time, and your time is money. So we want to make sure that we actually fine tune that. So when you put your time and effort into these videos, that you are getting that return on investment for your time. The next one is 1,000 to 5,000. So what I take away from this is it's probably the explainer videos, those big videos that are going to have some longevity, and they're going to be representative of your brand. That's where you're going to want to invest a little bit more money. But the return on investment should be prorated over time. So step one, review your marketing plan. And as many of you know, having that business plan first and foremost is crucial. And then you want to make sure you have your marketing strategy. And then you have to have a plan, because video needs to be part of your whole plan. We can't think of it just one-off videos here and one-off videos there. We need to know that it is helping us move the dial forward. So if you want some resources and take a step back to actually reviewing your plan, or you haven't done a digital marketing plan, the Mississauga Business Entrepreneur Center, we have worked over the last 4 years to put together a program. And in the last 2 years, we've recorded a lot of it. There is a digital marketing plan boot camp that I did. It's a 2-part series. It's recorded. There's free downloads. We're currently underway in a boot camp for anyone who's here today, where we can actually do through a workshop, because it's really important to make sure you have that big strategy in place. There's also a bunch of other ones. We do recommend starting with that Digital Marketing 101 and then moving forward. Content Marketing 101 is one of the ones I would recommend for this one because it speaks to your content marketing strategy, as well as both the Social Media 101 and 201 because it talks about social media, and we do cover a bit about where you will go as far as putting video into your content. So when you are planning, some guiding questions to think about. Even if you don't have a plan, think about these questions. Where are you currently in your business, and are there specific reasons you want to do video? Are people stuck in a funnel? Like, are you just not converting and you know video works? Are you not getting engagement on social media, right? Maybe things aren't moving forward. Maybe you have a big event coming up and there's an opportunity for you to get some video. That might be triggering your needs here too. So make sure you figure out where you are in your business. What's your competition doing? That's for inspiration, but also, as a reminder that maybe you should be doing it too. What is your style? This is really important because when you start to think about humor or inspiration or things like that, or even the tone of the script, you'll want to know that it stays within your brand. Why are you doing it, and are you able to do it? What are you currently doing for content marketing? Where does it fit? What resources do you have? Do you have time? Do you have skills? Do you have staff? Are you currently working with a marketing team? And you can say, listen, can we pivot a little bit and add in video? That might happen as well. And who will be part of your team? You have to think about it in all your production stage. Who needs to be part of that? We have a whole production checklist for you coming up. And are there key dates that you need to consider? As I'd mentioned, maybe there's an event, maybe there's a trade show, maybe it's your peak selling season coming up because you're seasonal and you need to have some content ready. Maybe you just hired a bunch of salespeople and they need content to be able to go out. All of those things are really important. So let's get started. To help you with planning your content, this is very similar to what you've seen in some of my past webinars. And what that is when you are planning content, you think of the big macro content first and you go into micro content. What this is it will help you plan all of your content per month is what we recommend. And you can use this template. We just created it. There's a bunch of instructions. We'll have the resource link available afterwards. And what that does is it brings it first and foremost for every month what you're going to do. So you're going to think about your business goal. What marketing goals do you want to achieve? Doesn't mean you're going to do all of them. So just click on them, what ones you want. What are those key metrics that you need to consider to help you reach those marketing goals? What channels are going to be your focus? Because maybe LinkedIn isn't, it's in maintenance mode, but really we want to work on Instagram. So put that down as your key focus. What are the topics for the month? Quite often you're going to have all of the themes and topics, but they could be seasonal. So if it's spring, maybe you have a garden center, which is what our demo typically is, and it's Easter or it's Mother's Day coming up. Maybe you have a big sales trade show coming up. So that's where you would highlight your themes, budget for content promotion, and time and hours. And then from there, we have the main content. So each different main content, what that is, it's going to be the big stuff, the stuff you want to invest in. Maybe it's that $1,000 video and you're going to put one big video out and it's going to be once a month you're going to put it out. And then from that video, maybe you're going to make smaller videos, right? Maybe you're going to create posts that are for social media, all of that. And so you'll be able to see and align it with each one's. This is going to help you with your planning. And then are you going to pay to promote it? How are you going to get it out there to get eyeballs? And then plug all of those in for your planning. Make sense? Okay. Okay, so here's an example. And this was me getting into the world of video. And what I did is I wanted to get a video out on LinkedIn because LinkedIn is my primary channel. And what I discovered, and all of you, if you're on LinkedIn, as many of you should be, you can actually put a video in behind your profile image to introduce yourself. 3 to 30 seconds. Film it, throw it up there. When people land on your LinkedIn profile, it'll actually start to play. So there's a little 3 seconds, then it goes to your real video. So check it out. It's on my profile. if you want to do that. And so then I thought, there's a lot of people that don't do this. This is a way for me to give them some tips. How can I do tips? Well, let's do it in a video because it's about video. So I created a video on how to put it up in my post, and I had a bunch of comments. I responded to those comments because engagement is key, right? This is part of why you put things out there. It's like, oh, hey, cool, I didn't know about it, and you want to engage with them. From there, I also wanted to put it on my blog because that's where the link goes from this over to my blog. But I had to also create a video on, put it on YouTube so that I could embed it into my blog. So I created my blog. What my goal was to build thought leadership and also drive traffic back to my blog. So for them to do that, I've also put in the blog is writing. So an extra tips, even beyond my video, I added extra tips. So that is one of the way that you can do it. Other things that'll come up will be, and I haven't done it yet, is social media posts, reach out to people and share with this, some one-on-one meetings. And for example, this is what you might want to see that would be in that content planning template that I showed you, right? There's the goal, there's the macro content. If I was going to put any paid promotion behind it, the micro content is my blog. It's a LinkedIn post, right? Beyond the video, which is the main content. And then promotion will be to share it out. Maybe I mention people and, hey, I just did a video. And maybe I'll put it out in a newsletter and some other micro posts as well on different platforms. And what was interesting, and I want to point out, is someone saw this and they reached out to me for a discovery call. And that was a bonus, right? This is ultimately what you want to do because you want to start working with it. So one of our things that we do at Acorn is we have our strengths, but we also work with video people, right? We'll hire video experts. We'll hire different specialties based on what our clients need. And so looking for video experts is one of the things that we were doing. So someone reached out to me after seeing this, and her name is Vanessa Holding. We had a great chat. It was wonderful. She ended up doing a profile thing afterwards. If you want tips following the session, I do encourage you to go and follow her. She's done a whole video series once a week. She is a video marketing expert. We had a great discussion on this, and then she was also willing to share this download because I mentioned to her about this video series. So you can follow this link here, and she has a whole bunch of insights, how to write a script, and tips from her, 3 of which says make sure you focus mostly on your valuable advice, ensure the viewer walks away with something actionable, and don't overwhelm them, right? Focus on 1 to 3 points. So those were 3 of the takeaway tips. So out of all of this, unexpected and hopeful, I was able to make that connection. So I hope you enjoyed those tips, but it also speaks to the point of the value of video. So step 2, now we need to create a video plan. So the actual, okay, let's get started. We know we want video. We've created our content. We've done the macro. Now let's get it done. Let's produce this video. Now we need a plan. So what do we have to think? Remember, we wanted goals. We need to know who our audience is. Yes, we have our primary audience, but specifically for this video, who needs to see this? Let's just do a brief. In your creative brief, you want to talk about your project overview. Are there any key messages? Is there a due date? Platform for hosting, where are you going to put this? Now, I had multiple ones on mine because LinkedIn, I put it in natively, but I also put it in YouTube because YouTube embedded better into my website. YouTube is not my channel. It's not a metrics I was trying to get, but I needed it to look good in my blog. So that was important, and you would want to identify that. Is there going to be a budget? Who's going to be on my team, and where's the location? I filmed mine in our studio, but maybe you have to go out. Now, a creative brief is important for you as an entrepreneur because you need to stay organized. If you are part of a nonprofit organization or you are doing marketing in your corporation, this creative brief is really important to get buy-in, to get approval, to make sure that, that you can build the case for doing this video. So some other guiding questions are how you'll manage the projects, where are the tasks going to go, because especially if you're collaborating with people, what's your timeline? Work back schedule is basically figuring out from the end all the way to where you're going to start. Do you need approvals? Who's going to do the edits and how are you going to do it? Do you have the technology? Emily's going to tell you some tips on most of these. How are you going to manage the files? Is there a sign off? Are you working with a client? Are you working with a boss? Is this an internal sign off with your partner that you have to do? And then is there a procurement process to consider? This is probably more for our larger organizations watching this, but always think too, if you have policies in your business when it comes to procurement, you should identify that in the creative brief. So this is the template that we have created for you. We will again share this out and it's fillable. You just need to duplicate it and it's all yours. The grayed out area is just instructions. Fill this in with your own information. And we've listed out all the information you need here, special guests, all the approvals, budget, creative requirements that need to be considered within the production. And then even things like captions, call to answers, intro and outro, because if you are doing this for someone else or you have to get those approvals, you want to be able to make sure that it's communicated to you what needs to be done, including what resources are available. So this is your creative brief and the first place you should start when you do it. The next one is someone had mentioned they want to know that checklist, that workflow for production. First, you need to consider planning. You will often not see this in a production checklist. However, I wanted to make sure it's there so that you have that before you even get started. So there is a planning checklist in there. Pre-production is before the production, which is video specific, which is about booking the team, booking your location if you want to, or if you need to, acquiring equipment, things like that is actually specific to the project at hand. Production is actually the day of filming, or it's the day of editing a graphic animated video. So that is the production. These are your checklists, things you need to consider. Post-production is going to be mostly it's in your editing, right? It's one of those things that have to be done before, as well as final edits, who needs to approve it, all of that type of thing. And then once it's done, how are you going to get it out there? Who's going to do it? Do you have a marketing team? Do you have someone else on your team that needs to distribute it? Where is it going to go? And then are you going to promote it? Like if there is no budget, you don't need to put anything down there, not applicable, that's okay, but it's something to consider for each of the project. And you're going to take a lot of this information from your creative brief. Any questions on this one? I know it's
We do have a question actually from the previous slide
okay.
about YouTube. And when you embed YouTube videos on your website, do you get commercials mid-video? How do you get that video to be commercial free?
Oh, totally another world of talking about YouTube. And without Ant being able, I'm not a YouTube expert. We do, and I do believe that MBEC has done a YouTube webinar. Perhaps we can drop that in the chat for everyone, and I will direct them over to that. I would have to look into that. I know YouTube has so many different levels of, they need to make money, so they put in ads and they're always changing it. If anyone in the group, and I put this out there, knows the answer to that and wants to drop it in, please do so. Do you have any YouTube insights?
From my understanding, YouTube videos will have ads, regardless if you put it on your website or you watch it on YouTube. It's based on the watcher, like the viewer,
Right.
if they have a subscription to avoid the ads. If it's something that you really don't want to have ads, like you want to make sure, I would recommend something like Vimeo. Vimeo is another really great platform that a lot of videographers use, and a lot of people, if you want to embed it on your website, it is a way for you to avoid ads. It just costs you money to use it, depending on how advanced you want to get. And it's less public, like people can't really search it.
Right. So it depends on your strategy on what you
Yeah.
want to do. Okay. It is. It is part of the fact that we are leasing. We talk about owned channels. When we do things on social media and these other ones, we're leasing the space, and we need to follow within their guidelines, work within the restrictions. If we're okay with it, we have to stay or look for an alternative. And YouTube is constantly changing, for sure. So thanks for that input, Em. Okay, so the other thing as part of the planning process is we had mentioned is managing your tasks. So once you have your creative brief, you have your production checklist, you have to actually have a place to manage all of the people and the tasks. You can use a spreadsheet, or you can use an online collaborative tool, whether it's for just yourself or to collaborate with your team. Emily has created this. It's a free template and example that we will send out a link to, and it's on Notion. Notion is a free platform, right? Emily, do you want to speak to this a little bit more?
Yeah, Notion is great. It can be used for task management, project management, collaborating with a team. I particularly use it to plan video content. It allows you to customize everything, add in notes that are specific to your business and specific to your strategy, and is easily shareable, especially if you wanted to bring in a team or if you're working with a group of people. So, and it's completely free.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So many tools. We also use Asana, but there are a bunch of project management tools out there. So step 3 is choosing the type of video. What's the right video for you or for your particular project? There's different things to consider as a high level. Are you going to film as a single person in front of the camera? Is this going to be interview style? Or are you going to do something animated where it's moving graphics, texts, photos, and things like that? Is it going to be short, medium, long? Consider the platform and the use and the content that's going to be on there that's going to affect that. Is it going to be, if you're going to film it, in studio or on location? And what platform you're going to use based on that too. There's different types of videos. It could be in feed, or it might be a story that you're trying to do. A lot of that will be the length, but it also could be how you film it. Paid, is it going to be a paid or organic video? And is it going to be live, pre-recorded, or engagement? There's a lot of things to think about. This engagement one, I just want to pop it up as a cool thing because I found it just recently. And this is Video Ask. We all want engagement. We want people to spend more time on our website. It is a new trend, not new, but it is something that we want to do. So how do we keep our viewers engaged? This one lets you create a video and then have it clickable, so you have engagement. And one of the examples that I have seen for them is that it's more of a, I mean, it's definitely an embedded. It has a purpose. It's going to be on your website. It is for a bigger content piece, like a blog, multiple articles, and they do an intro about them and what the article is going to be about, and then each of the links goes to the different headings within the article. But there's so many other ways that you could use it. So if you're interested, it's videoask.com. They have a variety of pricing plans. So let's get started on some types. You guys will get these presentation slides afterwards, so you don't need to, I won't run through all of them, but awareness, always think about the type of video based on what your business needs are, right? What is your goals, and then your marketing goals. And then we want to move people through the funnel. Some videos work better at the top of the funnel, maybe awareness, and then some work better at the bottom. It doesn't mean that this is a fixed rule. It's something typical and a guideline, because events, if you do event videos, the type of video within that event is going to be through various stages. So same as a demo. So awareness is a big one. It's a high level product, perhaps demo of your company. About your company is a really big one for sure. It's up in the awareness. Behind the scenes, take them behind the scenes. That could build awareness about what you're doing. Explainer videos, that's the bigger ones that you'll want to do. It's about you and your company and what you're doing. Educational. And the most fun one, as Emily constantly reminds us, we want to be inspired and entertained. And if nothing else, that is one of the core things that many of these videos, as many of our viewers know we want. So that piece gets eyeballs, right? Inspiration, that's what people want to share. Keep it within your brand, but always think about inspiration and entertainment as part of your whole video strategy. You don't ever just want one, but maybe it is just one. It all has to be rolled up to support your business goals. And then consideration and decision, there's Q&As, there's tips and insights, case studies, success stories. All of these kind of fit into this world as well. And that's kind of that middle part of the funnel. And then it's supposed to move. There we go. And then the last one is retention. How do we keep those customers engaged and staying with us? Testimonials, user-generated content is an important one that many people, because it gets everyone involved. Also, it gets your key stakeholders. Those could be your customers doing things or other influencers. Just a shout out, thank you, special holidays, survey, and feedback. So these are just some of the examples of the types. So step 4 is creating your video. I am absolutely going to pass this over to Emily because she's the expert on our team in this world, and it's all yours, Emily.
Amazing. Thank you, Laura. Yeah, so step number 4, we're going to create your video. So we're going to talk about, the script, the storyboard, the visuals that you're going to put in, including music, what audio you're going to use, the staging equipment, and then the final stage of editing. So for your script and storyboard, some questions to ask yourself, in the planning process. So who are you talking to? What is going to be the outcome of your video? What details do you need to tell your audience? And how are you going to close the video? Whether this is going to be like a long video, medium, short, there always has to be some kind of closing. So an example of a script or a storyboard, if you're going to interview a staff member, and again, this doesn't have to be elaborate, script by script. You're not writing a movie. So whatever works best for you, I personally work better in point form. So I put together this example to help me stay on track while I'm interviewing my lovely staff member. So we planned out the intro, so what their name is, how long they've worked here, and then some talking points. So what is their job position, what they like most about their job, and then some of their hobbies outside of work. And then to close the video, we're going to do a panorama of them working at their job with audio playing. So not every part of the video has to have a script, and we decided to close out with something that shows them in the environment. Some tools like we talked about earlier that we have played around with and that we've used for planning your script and storyboard is Notion, which is completely free. Asana is a really good one too, and the good old-fashioned way is just putting together a Google Sheets.
So Emily, just to clarify, that part where you have the example of interview the staff member, is that what would be considered that storyboard that you would plan out for kind of like your shots in each section?
This would be like the script more so, but definitely to help you when you're planning out for the next step. So this is where you would take this example and then you'd figure out, okay, like where are you going to be shooting? What equipment are you going to be needing? All of that kind of stuff.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm. So now the visuals. So what are you filming? What will you be filming? Will you need additional animations? Will you require text over your video or closed captions? Will you be adding pre-filmed intro clips? This is really important when you're filming to know before you get started, because if you're going to be adding text over top of it, you need to make sure that you leave room in your frame. If you're going to be adding animations, you need to know exactly where you're going to be putting them. If you are going to be adding, a pre-clip to your film, for example, if you watch a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of these people have like a little introduction video that's already pre-done, whether it's pre-filmed or it's a small animation, it's always that intro video. So now how are you going to connect what you just filmed with your intro? You may also have a pre-filmed outro clip as well. So it's always taking into consideration the stuff that you will be adding into it in the editing stage, and remembering that while you're filming. So your music and audio, this is definitely a very important one, whether you are using music in the background, if it's strictly just music, or if just dialogue. Here are some questions that you need to ask yourself. So, will you have someone speaking in the video? Will you be able to get clear audio from the speaker? Are you going to have background music? And where are you going to source your music from? So the trickiest part when filming dialogue is, getting good audio from people, especially if you are in a noisier space or if you are in a public space. So some tips when trying to capture dialogue is to, try and avoid noisy spaces if you can. If you can't, then maybe get an external mic if you're filming in public often. There are a lot of amazing tools which we can touch on in the next slide. And the biggest thing that I always recommend, and I am guilty for this, is testing your equipment before the event date. Because if this is like a one-time shot thing, like you will not be able to get another chance, please make sure you test your equipment. Another question that I often get is where you get your background music. And because of licensing and stuff, especially as a business, it can be tricky. So the best thing that I can recommend is if you are planning on, publishing this within TikTok or Instagram Reels, they do offer a lot of audio examples and sources like for you to use like directly within the app, and then it's licensed properly. There are a lot of stock audio platforms that provide licensing when you download it. We use Envato Elements, and it's absolutely amazing. Or you can sing it yourself. I mean, that's always a really good option.
Custom, right? Or hire someone to do your music and then you own it. That's a good idea.
Absolutely. Custom made is great because then it is yours. There are definitely more there's strategy involved with using music that has been done by other people, but that is definitely another topic, and we do actually talk about that in our TikTok webinar that we did a few weeks ago. So if you want to check that out, you totally can. So now staging and equipment. So this is all of the fancy stuff that you can buy. We're not saying that you should, and there are a lot of things that you can do with your phone alone, nothing else. And majority of the filming that I personally do is just with my phone and maybe a tripod that I got off Amazon for $15. However, there are a lot of events that we film as well. So having professional equipment or amateur professional equipment really helps my job, and it helps me feel better that the job is getting done well. So for example, like getting an external mic. This could be a mic that attaches to your phone when you're holding it to get better sound. It could be a mic that sits on top of your desk if you plan on filming at your desk. A better webcam, possibly, if you're going to be filming yourself or somebody else, like maybe a mic that they attach to their shirt. And lighting. Lighting is also a really, really important. But the cheapest way to get good lighting is by using natural light. So I highly recommend, if you're filming yourself, sit in front of a window. It is the best free light that you are going to get. So always think about the environment that you're going to be in when you're shooting. If it is going to be a noisier space, maybe consider getting some additional audio equipment. And if it's a dark space, maybe think about getting some lighting as well. So now you are in the editing process. So here are some more things to think about. I know it's a lot of things to think about, but like, where are you going to be editing your video? Is it going to be on your computer? Is it going to be on mobile? Are you going to be editing it yourself, or will you be hiring somebody else to do it? How is that relationship going to work? And are you going to require advanced editing tools? Is this something that, like a program that you're going to have to invest in to do some extensive animations, or is this something where you can easily edit on your phone? So some editing tools that I have personally used on my computer is iMovie. It's free for Mac, which is great. Canva is a very simple and easy video editing tool. You are limited on the amount of stuff that you can do, but it is free. Final Cut and Premiere Pro are paid programs for a little bit more of an advanced video editing platform. Some video editing tools for your phone. Canva, again, free. Adobe Rush is free with in-app purchases. You can use social media platforms themselves. So TikTok and Instagram has video editing tools built into the platform. So if it's something that you just wanted to play around with, if you don't want to use anything external, it's a really great place to edit your video. iMovie, again, on your phone works. And an app that I have used in the past is free up to a certain point. There are in-app purchases, but is Splice. And I think it's one of like the top free video editing apps on mobile.
Cool.
So now you have edited your video. We're going to distribute it and we're going to promote it. So where do you publish your video and how are you going to cross promote? So where do you publish your video? Some things to consider is thinking it's like, who do you want to see the video? Who was your video created for? And where are the people who need to watch your video? So now this is going back to your strategy, what Laura talked about previously is, what's the purpose of your video? Is this something that you want to be put on LinkedIn? Now you have to consider, okay, now do I also have to put it on YouTube to put it in these places? Or are the people watching my video only going to be on Instagram? But if they're only going to be on Instagram, is there a possibility for me to leverage it and bring people over to other platforms? And what platform best fits the video? Did you shoot it portrait or did you shoot it landscape? So now was this video designed for your website and YouTube? Was it shot to be specifically for Instagram and TikTok? Or maybe it was just for Facebook and LinkedIn. So always thinking about where it's best going to resonate with your audience is essentially where you want to publish it. Obviously, cross-promoting, which we will talk about later on. But where are you going to get the best results?
So the other thing, just to add to that, Emily, right, is it's the planning process helps you figure that out, because if you know maybe you have one opportunity to film something, but you want to put it on multiple places, you could take that same day to take one shot in portrait mode for maybe a story and change up the script a little bit, and then have it in a different mode. So you are only having one filming day, but it could be for multiple things. So it does save time, right?
Absolutely. And if it's something that, again, always going back to that planning process, and it is so important because if you want it across all platforms, let's say you want it on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and TikTok. Well, that is two different layouts of your video. So for LinkedIn and for Facebook, like it's landscape. But then if you want to translate that onto Instagram and TikTok, you have to keep that in mind when you're filming. It's like, am I able to optimize this video to fit more of a portrait style? So if that's the case, then you need to make sure that, you know, the sides of your video leave enough room for you to crop it and leave it. Or are you going to have to get into your editing game and be able to do like a pan across to show like the entire frame, which I've done in the past. And that does take time to learn how to do. But that's why this planning process is so important, because if it is a situation where you only get one time to shoot, if it's an event, how are you going to cross promote?
And also, you may have to have multiple scripts because there may be different messaging for different ones. But so you can have multiple scripts, multiple storylines, and one day to shoot it all, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And you don't have, if you are at an event, the video that you shoot doesn't have, you can shoot more than one video. It doesn't have to be one video that you convert. If it's something that you know is going to be hard to move from landscape to portrait, then shoot two videos if you can.
And there's also, don't miss an opportunity, right? Maybe you want to get some B-roll, some background. So if you're somewhere, you'll go, okay, so then maybe we'll do this too for future use. And that all goes back to your larger marketing plan, your content plan, knowing what you have available and don't missing that without missing an opportunity. So it's cool.
Okay, so now where else can you put your video? This again, going back to your planning process, the video that you shot, is it easily shareable? Can I move it across all of these platforms? Is this something where you need to share a link across instead of actually embedding the video? Like Laura was talking about her LinkedIn video, she embedded it directly into LinkedIn, but she wanted to share it to her blog. And with that, she needed to post it to YouTube for it to actually work on her blog for her to see the video. So now how is that going to resonate? Are you going to have to edit to optimize for other platforms? Again, always going back to that planning. The video that you shot, is it able to be replicated in a different format? And now how are you going to drive them back to the original? If you wanted to get YouTube, if you've posted on YouTube and that's the goal and that's everywhere that you want them to go, how are you going to share that link across your other platforms to get people to go back to the original and for you to get all the views and the clicks and all of your stats? So for example, if you published it to YouTube, you can share a link to Facebook, you can share a link to LinkedIn or publish it directly. And then you'll have to do a little bit of editing to crop it down, but you can publish it to Reels and TikTok. There are obviously a lot more other platforms that you can share your stuff to, but this is just an example of how you can take one video and replicate it across all of your platforms. Okay, so now measuring performance. You have posted the video, it is out there in the world. What are the most important metrics to look for? I know we talked about that previously. Laura shared it at the beginning. There are a lot of metrics to look for, but what are the pieces and what are those stats that are going to help you create better video in the future? So some of the key metrics to pay most attention to are your views, your watch rate, so how long the people are sticking around, and then your overall engagement. So that is link clicks, that's how many people are commenting, how many people are sharing, liking. So essentially it's, how many people are seeing your video, how long are they staying around, and how much are they engaging with the actual video that you've done. There are a lot of other stats, but these stats are really important to watch for to learn what videos of yours are performing really well and which ones may not be performing well. You may find that a video that you filmed, you thought it was super great, you thought your audience was going to love it, but they're not engaging with it. They're not sticking around. Maybe they're only watching half the video and then they're leaving. And then maybe a video that you published you didn't think was doing very well could perform awesome. People are watching it multiple times. You are continuously getting views. So it's really important to pay attention to how everybody is watching your video.
Aha. Okay. Thanks, Emily. So just to recap, that's a lot of information, and just a reminder that we will send this out and they will be available, all of these slides, as a download to people watching today as well as our recorded viewers. So what are those key takeaways for this session? Just remember to keep it simple. Do the planning process and then figure out what you want to do, and don't worry about all the bells and whistles. Just get the basics down and get it out there, and then learn do learn and adapt, but make sure you know your platform, as you'd mentioned, right, Emily, and know your audience and why you're doing it and what will resonate most with them. And then just get started. Perfection stands in the way of progress quite often, and we just need to get going. People, and now more than ever, they just want authenticity. They don't need these fine tuned. Now, it depends on the video itself, but for social media, maybe that's a great way to start as well, because there's less expectation on the world in the world of perfection, and they're shorter and a little more manageable. Would that make sense, Emily? Would you speak to
Yeah,
that one?
absolutely. A great way to get started is just on social media. If you don't want to
Yeah.
go through the full editing process and you just want to get quick videos out there and get familiar with the platform, I would highly just recommend go on TikTok, go on Instagram, and play around with their video editing software and see what everybody else is doing.
Hmm. And I know something I do is that I'll use my personal platforms to test and practice using the editing features. That's another way to do it. And there's another option if you don't want to be in front of the camera. As we had mentioned, there's animated videos, right? You can use pictures. You can pull in things from Canva. You can pull in photos and have photos that are moving through and graphics, so you don't even have to be on camera for certain types of videos. Or else you're just showcasing, right? If it's an in-person film, you can film and just have a voiceover. Works as well. So figure out your
Voiceover
comfort
is
level.
voiceover is a really great tool. And again, like I mentioned before, like TikTok and Instagram Reels have built-in tools for you to easily do voiceover. It doesn't even have to be your own voice. Like you could pick somebody else's voice, just write the text and it will create a voiceover for you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. And thanks for all the comments. StreamYard was mentioned. Thank you for that. That is something we didn't talk. There's so much to talk about, and live video is a whole session in and of itself as well. And there are so many tools out there. Just you go figure out what your comfort level is, your budget, and try them out. And try. There's a lot of them that have freemium versions, so just
Mhm.
give them a go. Any other ideas that our audience has of different tools that they've used, please drop them in. Let us know into the chat and let our other viewers know as well. Voiceover is a question. Emily, is there any specific, because we are in Q&A now, just to let everyone
Yeah,
know.
so aside from like what I mentioned, like TikTok and Instagram Reels have built-in voiceover like editing software within the platform. The other option is you can use iMovie and you can record your own voice and then stick it right in. I'm sure there are lots of other, like a lot of the free video editing platforms allows you to put in your own audio. So even if you just record it on your phone and then put it into the video editing platform, I haven't personally done that myself, but I know it can be done.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Please drop in any questions into the chat. We're going to run through, because we do have some time, we're going to run through the demo to kind of pull it all together for you, and then we will take some more Q&A at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And this is glitchy. So let's go back to our demo organization that we constantly use and was done in the Digital Marketing Bootcamp and a few of the other ones. And this is a garden center it's a pretend company, but we have built this out for demonstrations. B2B company that wants to get online. They have X amount of budget that they have mentioned that they're going to do. And they want more leads, they want to increase their revenue. So, part of what you need to do is, again, we had mentioned having that marketing plan, your business plan, what do you want to achieve is really important when building out your video marketing strategy. But because it has to be part of your content marketing strategy, which has to be part of your whole marketing plan. One thing you do need to make sure you have is your branding assets. Understand what platforms you're going to do. That's part of the strategy. Know what brand, have your logo on hand, make sure you have your colors, make sure you know those topic pillars that you're going to talk about, and then just have this available all the time because you're going to want it through different marketing tactics that you move forward with. And content topic pillars are typically something along this line where you want to educate, promote, showcase what you're doing, testimonials, and local based on your goals for the month and for your planning when you do your videos. Make sure whatever you end up doing supports that overall marketing. So you will want to do that. You'll also want to make sure you pull in your audience insights, right? Where is that persona? Have a look at that one and make sure and pull out that persona that you're going to do your video for. Establish your key dates. This is going to be part of your marketing plan. If you know Mother's Day is coming up and you're opening up your garden center for this organization, they're going, okay, so that is a key date. Let's have some video content ready for it. And then this is part of all of those tactics that they have established in their marketing plan, which you guys should have. And that will be, they're going to have their website, they're going to do on what months. They've also noticed that live Facebook videos is going to be part of their content strategy. So now that's videos, but they also might want to do it as part of social media as well. So have that on hand. And then we get into that monthly template. That is what we provided at the beginning and will be as a download for you, and where you'll be able to see the main content. All your planning is there, and then main content, micro, and promotions. As an example for this company, actually, where if we move it over to the second one, monthly they've established based on their tactic to create live Facebook video series. That is their big content that they're going to create. They're also going to be promoting it through e-newsletter, blog, social media posts, and stories. So that's where you will take this information, go, okay, so now let's do our video marketing strategy. You'll have your creative brief, you're going to have your planning production template, and then you move forward for that. So that will be based on video. That's what you will use. And now we get into the world of, okay, let's get started. What are those other things we need to do? And research and inspiration is one thing. I'm going to pass this back over to Emily.
Yeah, so for Garden Grows, they really wanted to see what everybody else was doing. So they spent a little bit of time researching very popular platforms. So for example, they found a lot of inspiration on Instagram and TikTok because that is where they have found a lot of the really engaging video content. So they saved some accounts that were very active on the platform. They looked to see what videos of theirs were performing very well and what questions other people were asking. So they actually went through some of their videos and looked at questions other people were asking and seeing if they could answer it themselves. This was also a really great idea, a really great exercise for them to do because it gave them ideas on how to film and what kind of music to use and what animations people were using and weren't using. Yeah, and then so they took what they've learned and they started playing around with some free editing platforms. So they used Canva and they found some amazing stock video already within the program that was available for them to use. And they wanted to do something, super simple for Mother's Day. This one didn't have any sounds. They didn't have to put sound over top of it. And they wanted something to let people know that, come in and wrap your own bouquet for Mother's Day. This most simple video, they put it out to social to let people know that they have an event going on leading up to Mother's Day. Another video they wanted to do was like an inspirational, motivational one. This one was designed to, pull on those heartstrings. And afterwards, Laura is going to show what the actual video looks like because it has some amazing sound to it and music that was downloaded with a license, and the app that was used was Adobe Rush. So they took a bunch of stock images and some of their own from Canva and any other platform that they found and put them all together to make a beautiful little montage.
So we might not be able to share this because of the sound, but Emily and I, this falls into our world of sustainability and eco entrepreneurs that we support. So it may end up on our post, right? Like we're actually going to put this up there because you have to then check us out on Instagram, right at Acorn Studio Marketing. We'll show you the link afterwards because the music, oh my goodness. I think I almost started to cry. Emotions is what you want to elicit, right? Like this, pull it out, and music is really important, or that background, if this is what you're trying to do. And Mother's Day is kind of an emotional time. So,
yeah, we do also have a lot of other videos on our Instagram page that we have compiled from. We try and explore local coffee shops. So every time we go in, we try and take a little video. And all of those videos have been edited within Instagram. We also have some TikTok videos as well. But it's those spur of the moment videos that we try and capture. So having those easy tools within the platform was really helpful. So if you ever wanted to check out and see what we've done, we have quite a few.
and this brings us back to that point where you don't want to miss that opportunity. You want to have that being able to do spur of the moment or change if something is there. And we get this all the time, is that question, right? Like, how do we manage all of that? The most important thing is you do have your plan in place. So if you have your strategy, your marketing strategy, you know what you want to achieve for business. You know all of your pillars and your themes, you understand month per month what you're trying to achieve, then you have this strategy in place, this framework that you can be spontaneous and relevant and strategic because you're going, okay, it's April's an important one for us, Earth Day, and everything around sustainability is there. So we know that we have our core content planned out. And then if we're out there on an event, we can take something right away and we know it will fit within our plan. And so this goes back to that planning piece, knowing your brand and who you are and what you want to achieve and what your strategy is. So we do recommend, highly recommend, having that strategy piece done first and foremost. So yes, check us out on Instagram is the best place as far as videos go and examples. And please reach out to us directly. Happy to have a call, free discovery call with anyone here. And you can find us at acornstudio.marketing, all of our links and how to get in touch with us. So if there are, I will stop sharing because we are at the end of our presentation and I just have to, and then we will stay on to take questions. We're here till 11:30. So any questions, inspiration, advice to share amongst the group? It's a lot of information, Emily, and I'm so glad you are the expert. I do the strategy and Emily does the filming. It's so great.
It's definitely a lot of information, and I wish I could have gone into more detail about stuff because there could have been a presentation on editing alone, on filming alone, and staging. There's so much, but honestly, the best thing you can do is just practice and don't wait for perfection. And I think that's what happens a lot of time is people miss opportunities because they are waiting for it to be perfect and they're waiting to be ready. And it's like you just have to do it.
You have to do it. And it's but we also have our different comfort levels, budget and time. And I think carving out some time to do video or when you do your planning and repurpose. And this is where if you already have content and you can't think of something new, take a blog, right? And just take a blog and read it and record it and then post it on YouTube and then direct it back. So now we know everyone likes to take in content differently. So you now have text, you have a video, and you can even do a podcast like a sound recording as well. So all of that is, you already have the content, you're just repurposing it. So that is a way to, for time efficiency. What are some other examples? filming, editing, and staging. So we do also have other videos at that digital marketing link on that we will share out afterwards that goes to that digital marketing planning webinar. There's all of our other digital marketing links, and there are a few other video resources in there, including the filming. There's one talking about InShot, how to use InShot. So it's worth reading, watching those videos, and there's a lot of other downloads available. And I'm sure there will be future ones that MBEC, make sure you mention it to the Idea Mississauga team. If that's what you're interested in, it will help. Explainer videos. Oh, yes. That is, they can be expensive. They don't have to be expensive. An explainer video just talks about your brand, right? Or explains something. And you can explain it into short pieces. Perhaps you chunk it out and you end up doing it yourself and it becomes a series. If it's something you want your brand story, that this is something that's going to live on your website, that's going to be shared, maybe you're trying to get investors, or it's going to be on your main YouTube channel. You may want to hire someone to help you with the scripting, help you with the shot, make sure it's properly edited if that's not your world. But also talk to them about pricing and get multiple quotes, because there's different ways to do it without breaking the bank, right?
I think explainer videos too, you really have to go back to your audience. And if you've had past explainer videos that did not perform very well, are you appealing to your audience? In my own personal experience, the explainer videos that I've seen fail, if you are trying to target younger people, like the younger millennials, Gen Z, is that your video is too long. They generally don't like longer videos and they want you to get right to the point. So if that's the case, then maybe you break it up, or maybe you make it easily accessible for people to jump between chapters. And I know YouTube has that option. So if it is a longer video that you can't get out of, make it easy for people to figure out exactly what they want, instead of waiting for you to do the entire thing for them to find out that one piece of information that they're looking for. If it is a long video and it's not something that can be chaptered up, really, you need a good hook at the beginning. You need to tell people exactly why they need to watch this entire video at the very beginning.
Yeah, make it exciting for them, but just tell them why to be there, tell them what you're going to tell them, and then remind them what you tell them, and then have that call to action. So you're right. So make sure you know the audience, what you want to achieve. So if you're explaining a product or an educational, so things like this, where it's educational and it's something that you're going to be learning, a longer video may work. But an explainer one just is about your company and getting it hooked in, right? So knowing your audience and what you need to tell them is important. Intro, outro.
Yeah, so that intro, it's that hook, right? It's driving people in. But again, it all depends on the platform. If you are filming for YouTube or LinkedIn, usually there is a little bit of like a more professional intro, right? Because it's a more professional platform. People need to know why they're here, who you are, your credentials, if it's irrelevant. Whereas if you go to somewhere like Instagram and TikTok, in most cases, there is no intro or outro. If it is an explainer video or, an introduction to something, your intro needs to be that hook right at the beginning. Again, it's why they're here, why they need to pay attention. So it's like 0.5 of a second for you to grab their attention.
So there's also the graphic part of that intro and outro too, that
Absolutely.
should be considered if you're doing a series, right? Perhaps you have that starting graphic that introduces the series, but make sure it's fairly quick. And then the outro might just be your handles, right? Like your social media, but something really quick that just kind of bookends.
That outro can be a lot of things. It doesn't have to be anything super fancy. especially on YouTube, because they allow you to have that option where you can put like other thumbnails to click to
Mhm.
another video. It could easily just be you telling them what to do next. So if it's a video that's, related to another video, you could end your video telling them to go and click the other video, or like and subscribe, or I don't know, visit our website for more information. Um, it's essentially just telling them, what the next steps are.
And that's where in the planning stage, you wanna know what that call to action is,
Yes.
because if you're going to speak to it, you need to know you're gonna do it, right? So if there's a free download link in your comments and you're gonna speak to it, you better make sure it's there, right? Or click to go see our other videos, you need to know that is part of a series.
Hmm.
So all of that you need to have in your planning so that you can include it in your script.
Yeah.
Intro and outro, the other thing too with graphic overlays, like, can you speak to that? Because there is way even on Canva to create a
Hmm.
transparent, right, and put a graphic. Is there best practices when it comes to
All depends on what you want to
that?
do. And again, your audience. I
Okay.
mean, I definitely fall into the millennial generation. So I don't really care for really long intros. Again, I want you to get to the point. But, if you do a cool little animation, like a 1 second graphic with maybe your logo spinning or something, like, I think that's really cool. And then it stays consistent across all of your videos. So let's say, for example, I accidentally land on a video, don't know who it is, but then I see your 1 second intro of your animation. It's like, oh, yeah, I know this person, super cool. And then you could also create an animation that speaks to your business too. So it is, they might land on your video if they're searching for something, they're looking for an answer. Um, if you have a fun little animation briefly describing essentially what you do, then it kind of reinforces what I'm watching.
And speaking to that, get to the point. We've seen a lot of videos where they talk about who they are right at the beginning and feel they need to introduce themselves, but really the end of the day, they can find out who you are later and go read your stuff. They just want to know why they're there. So
Or
that's the get to the point, right?
or have a video where you are explaining who you are. And then they can go and look at that, because you can pin videos at the top of your YouTube channel. You can pin videos on Facebook, um, and a lot of other platforms. So have that as your explainer one, but you don't need to keep reintroducing yourself in all of your videos. Maybe do like a quick, be like, "Hey, I'm Emily. I work at Acorn Studio Marketing, and I'm a graphic designer. This is what we're talking about today." Like, it doesn't need to be like, just get to the point. They don't need the fluff.
Mm, mm. Really good point, and I like the pinning because even YouTube, right, has that place at the
Yeah.
top where you can put in your explainer, and I don't think it needs to be for something like that, you wanna be able to update it possibly as your
Mhm.
business grows, so spending a ton of money when you have a tight budget doesn't make sense, do it the best you can, and then if it's not resonating, maybe we change it out, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay. Any other questions? Yeah, filming, live is a whole another world. Mostly what we've talked about here today is pre-recorded, up there. We also what about any live tips? I know we have done Instagram Live before.
Mhm.
Is there any insights on that that you can offer him?
Lives are great. It is really great to, connect with your audience on a more, like, personal level, because you can answer questions right on the spot. Um, you can, pre-organize questions or a topic or something that you're going to be talking about. It's also a great way for you to stay consistent. So maybe you go live every Wednesday morning or something, then your audience starts to really, get used to what you're doing. The one thing I find about lives is exactly as I said, it's very spur of the moment. So if people aren't there for your lives, they might they'll miss out unless you save your live and you post it, to your channel, whether that be Facebook or Instagram. I know you can't do it with TikTok, um, but sometimes people might not want to watch that because they weren't there. So it's depending on how, it's all about your strategy. in your plan. Is this something that you really want to do, that you want to connect with your audience this way? Then absolutely go for it. But I would just recommend playing around with it and, go live for a little bit, see how well it does, see how well your audience is engaging with it. You might find that those pre-recorded videos are easier for people to find.
Excellent. DJ says Twitch.
Twitch is
He uses
great.
to go live for talk shows and your DJ show. Oh, and you can get paid and don't need much of a following. That is great advice to try that out. Is there a particular audience that's on Twitch, though, that we should consider? Because it's not the one I understand. Emily, you know about
Twitch. I could be wrong, but I feel like Twitch definitely targets more of like the gaming and streaming community, where they're used to live videos.
I
I know it's
love
not
that.
just gamers, but I feel like it's
Excellent.
definitely.
Okay. Fitness cooking shows.
Oh, amazing.
What?
Okay.
Okay, now we have to check out that channel for
Yeah.
sure. That's and this is where look outside the typical,
Yeah.
right? Find those niche platforms that are working, because if it's an early stage, and even TikTok at the beginning, right, was really pushing the business, they'll support your algorithm. I don't know about Twitch, but now we're going to have to check that out as well. And there may be a whole new audience you can reach. So if one of your business goals is to reach a new audience, that might be part of your strategy. Just make sure, if you're going to commit to a strategy, you can go and check it out. But if you're going to commit to that as a business move, that you consider that as part of your communications mix and your strategy. Pandemic, yes. Joined 100 shows globally.
Wow.
Okay, this is really good information. Thank you for that. So Twitch is another one. Is there any other platforms that people have been using? The other thing for live, as you've mentioned, StreamYard. Thank you for that. There are third-party applications that are required to do some of the live streaming. And I know for LinkedIn, you can't do live without a third party. Are there some that have worked better than others? I am curious. We have only ever done IG Live, where you write in a social media app. There's no extra. It's super simple to get started. And anyone who wants to get started, I definitely recommend something where you don't need to add an application. But for those that do require it, do your research. There's freemium versions to get started, and you'll just have to test them out. But I will be curious if there's anyone listening to this recording afterwards, please drop it in the comments. We would love to keep this chain going, because this is how we learned from each other with that.
I would
So
love to see if anyone is using Patreon for their live content, because I know I listened to a couple podcasts that have their live recordings on Patreon. I know it's definitely like I think it's more of like a subscription based platform, but I'd be super curious to look into it.
Yep. The arts and entertainment industry. It's very popular. But again, thinking outside the box, just because, like DJ mentioned, is if, we always thought it was the gamers. Well, don't assume. Go in and do your homework and check it out. There may be an opportunity to set yourself apart from your competition by creating content on a whole new platform. This is where digital marketing never stops. We never stop learning, and video is a place to do it, just like that engagement video, right? Like, so if something like that's like, we didn't even know it was out there. So if it wasn't out there a year ago, don't assume it's still not out there, and keep looking. So we at Acorn Studio Marketing definitely are always on the lookout for that, and do share and post things on our blog, and provide free resources when it comes to that too. So do connect with us moving forward. So if there aren't any other questions or comments, we do love all the engagement and the advice along the way. Thank you to Idea Mississauga for inviting us to talk about video strategy and those 6 steps. And remember that planning, it starts with planning. Make sure you put that in, review your marketing plan first, and then just get started. Emily's provided us with a bunch of tips on editing, some platforms. Know that that list of all the tools that we've given you, there are so many more. It's just meant to get started. And then that demonstration at the end was to provide you with an example of what that might look like. But there's so many opportunities. So we do thank you for that.
Mm-hmm. And we will be posting our free resources to our website shortly. So keep an eye out for that. We also have other ones as well. So grab them. They're
yes.
there.
Yes. They're not up there yet, but you will have them. We will send out an email to everyone once they're there. And then we do have that next one coming up, digital marketing, how to make money on social media. Emily's our social media expert, and we will be providing tips on how to leverage social media for that. So thanks again, everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, we will put it back to the idea team.
Okay, thank you so much for that presentation, Laura and Emily. With that, we will be concluding the webinar. I've also included a link to the next webinar. As Laura mentioned, it's the digital marketing, how to make money on social media. It is taking place on May 24th at 10 a.m. So please be sure to register for that event. And thank you everyone for attending, and we hope to see you guys at the next webinar.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a great day.
See you later. Bye.